Okay, so this is a revision guide Surds section. Workout, we got that lovely thing. So what we're going to have to do is multiply out the two brackets that are our numerator. So I'm going to do grid method. We've got 5 root 3 and 5 minus root 3. 5 times 5, 25, 5 times root 3, 5 root 3. Minus root 3 times 5 is, minus 5 root 3. And negative root 3 times root 3 is negative 3. These two terms, negative and positive, cancel each other out. So we're left with 25 minus 3 is 22. And our denominator is root 22. Now we are going to have to rationalise. So we are going to times by the root thing that's at the bottom, and that will mean root 22 times root 22 will give us 22. But we don't want to change the value, so we're going to make it the fraction 1 by having the same numerator and denominator. So this means that we end up with 22 root 22 over 22, and we've got a common factor, so it becomes root 22. Much easier rationalising here. We've just got to do 1 over root 3 times root 3 over root 3, which will end up being root 3 over 3. Now, although they're both 3's, because this is in the root symbol, we can't simplify that any further. Then another double bracket, so we'll do the same as we did before. We've got 2 root 3 along the top, and 1 root 3 down the side, 2 root 3, oh no, 1 root 3, 1 times root 3 is root 3, this one's 2 root 3, and root 3 times root 3 is going to be 3. This time they don't cancel each other out, so we will have a root 3 term here. We've got 2 and 3 is 5, and 2 root 3 and root 3 is 3 root 3. Another simpler rationalising, we are going to times by root 7 over root 7 this time, which means we end up with root 7 over 7. Again, can't be simplified. This one we've got to be careful. It's a double bracket, but because there's that squared there, people often make the mistake of just squaring these two things. It's not. When we do our grid across the top, we've got root 3 plus root 15, and down the side we also have root 3 and plus root 15. Root 3 times root 3 is 3. Brain gear. Root 15 times root 15 is 15, and these are the bits that people often forget because they don't draw out the grid. Root 3 times root 15 is root 45, and again another root 45 there. Now the nice thing about root 45 is it can be simplified. It has a factor which is a square number, and that factor is 9. So we can rewrite root 45 as root 9 times root 5, because 9 times 5 is 45. This will square root, which means that it's 3 root 5. So when we come to collect our like terms, lost the light again. We've got 3 plus 15, which is 18, and then we've got 2 root 45s, which we know is now 3 root 5. So 2 lots of 3 root 5 is 6 root 5. There was an error in this question, I remember now. It should be right in form a plus b root 5. Okay, this is a lovely question. All measurements on the triangle are in centimetres. A, B and C is a right angled triangle. K is positive and an integer. We need to find the value of K. So we've got a Pythagoras problem because we've got two sides of a right angled triangle and we want the third. Pythagoras says that a squared plus b squared equals the hypotenuse squared, or c squared, some people see it as. So let's pop it in. I'm going to say that a is k, so k squared plus The other short side is this one here, 3 plus root 5, and we're going to square that, and that's going to equal this side here, the hypotenuse squared, root 3 plus root 15 squared. So let's multiply out our two brackets and see where we go. We've got 3 plus root 5 along the top, and 3 plus root 5 down the side. 3 times 3 is 9, 3 times root 5, 3 root 5 times 3, 3 root 5, and root 5 times root 5 is 5. So that means that this can be rewritten as 14 plus 6 root 5. Let's multiply out our hypotenuse as well. So for this one we've got root 3 plus root 15 along the top. Oops, and root 3 plus root 15 down the side. Root 3 plus root 3 is 3. Root 3 plus root 15 is root 45. Root 15 times root 3 is root 45. Root 15 times root 15 is 15. Now, remember, we actually came across root 45 earlier on. A root 45 can be simplified to 3 root 5. So we end up with 18 plus 6 root 5. So now if we go back to our equation, I'm going to rewrite this now with our expanded out. We've got k squared plus 14 plus 6 root 5 equals 18 plus 6 root 5. Then we are going to get the k squared by itself, so we subtract 6 root 5 from this side, and therefore we subtract it from that side. K squared plus 14 equals 18. Then we get rid of the 14, k squared equals 4, and then we square root k equals 2. Okay, expand and simplify, root 3 minus root 2, root 3 minus 2. Just the same again. The more you do it, the easier it becomes. Root 3 times minus, that's going to be minus root 6, minus root 6, minus root 2, minus root 2. A negative times by a negative is a positive, so that's going to be 2. And we end up with 2 root 2. Oh, going back to our indices, this could be written as the square root of 49, which is obviously 7. And then write root 45, and they like root 45. Could be written as root 9 times root 5, which is root 9 is 3 root 5. Okay, now we've got to rationalise, because we've got the 2 at the bottom here. We're going to do root 18 plus 10 all over root 2 times, denominator is root 2 over root 2. Denominator is easy enough, that will become 2, and then we're going to multiply. So root 18 times root 2 is root 36, and 10 times root 2 is going to be 10 root 2. Quite pleasantly, root 36 will square root, and we'll end up with 6 plus 10 root 2 over 2. Now, because we've got a plus here, both of these things, if we're going to simplify, have to be able to divide by 2. Fortunately, they do. 6 will divide by 2 and you'll get 3, and 10 root 2 will divide by 2 and you'll get 5 root 2, and that will be your final answer. And another multiply now. Seven times root 3, 7 root 3. Negative root 3 times 2, so that's minus 2 root 3. Negative times by a positive is a negative, so that's going to be negative 3. 14 take away 3 is 11. 7 root 3 take away 2 root 3 is going to be 5 root 3. Okay, so we've got another rationalising one. I'm not actually going to rationalise, and I'm going to point something out. This is 4 plus root 2, this is 4 minus root 2. This is the difference between two squares and is really quick and easy to multiply out, because you'll end up with some positive root 2's and some negative root 2's, which will cancel each other out. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to take 4 and square it. So that's going to be 16. And root 2 times root 2 is going to be 2. One's positive, one's negative, so we're going to take away 2, and that will all be over root 7. You can do it the long way if you want to, and you'll see that that's what comes out. Obviously this can be simplified to 14 over root 7, and then we need to rationalise. So we're going to times by root 7 over root 7, which will leave us with 14 root 7 over 7. And 14 will divide by 7, 2 root 7, final answer. Okay, and hopefully we can notice in this one exactly the same. We've got 4 minus root 3, 4 plus root 3. That's the difference between two squares, so we end up with 4 squared again, 16, but this time minus root 3 times minus root 3, negative times by a positive is going to be a negative, but it will be minus 3, and that's all going to be over root 13. We can simplify that, 13 over root 13, then we can rationalise. And we end up with, sorry, that should be a 13. Then we end up with 13 root 13 over 13, which will divide through. We end up with root 13. And that's the lot.